உலக அரங்கில் இடம்பெறும் அரசியல் மாற்றங்கள், ராஜதந்திர நகர்வுகளை பற்றி அத்துறைசார் வல்லுநர்களோடு நேர்காணல். சமகால அரசியல்.
வணக்கம் நேயர்களே. எமது சமகால அரசியல் தொடர்பான அந்த தொடரிலே இன்று நாங்கள் சந்திக்க இருப்பது ஒரு தமிழர் அல்லாத ஒரு அரசியல் பிரமுகர், கனடாவிலே ஒன்டாரியோ மாகாணத்தின் ஸ்கார்பரோ அகின்கோர்ட் தொகுதிக்கான பிரதிநிதி. இங்கு வாழுகின்ற தமிழர் நலன்களிலே அதிக அக்கறை கொண்டவர். அவர் ஆர்மேனியன் சமூகத்தை சார்ந்தவர் என்றபடியால் ஆர்மேனிய சமூகம் என்பது அவர்களுடைய நாட்டிலே இனப்படுகொலையை சந்தித்த ஒரு சமூகமாக இருக்கின்ற காரணத்தாலும் எமது ஈழத்தமிழர்களுடைய இனப்படுகொலை தொடர்பான பல மாநாடுகள், கலந்துரையாடல்கள் போன்ற விடயங்கள் எல்லாம் அடிக்கடி வந்து கலந்து கொண்டு தன்னுடைய கருத்துக்களை சொல்லுகின்ற ஒருவரை நாங்கள் சந்திப்பது எங்களுடைய தமிழர் சமூகம் அவருடைய கருத்துக்களை கேட்பதற்கும், அவர் இதுவரையும் நாங்கள் செய்ய தவறிய விடயங்களை கவனமெடுத்து செய்யக்கூடியதாக இருக்கும் என்ற அந்த எண்ணத்தோடு அவரை நாங்கள் இங்கே அழைத்திருக்கின்றோம். எங்களுடைய அழைப்பை ஏற்று அவர் இங்கே வந்திருக்கிறார். ஒரு தமிழ் ஊடகமாக இருந்தாலும் இந்த 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 நேர்காணல் நாங்கள் ஆங்கிலத்தில் தான் நாங்கள் நடத்த வேண்டியிருக்கிறது. அந்த வகையிலே அரிஸ் பாபிக்கியன் அவர்களை நாங்கள் வரவேற்றுக் கொண்டு, Aris, welcome to our studio. We are here on behalf of the three media, Tamil media. So, thank you again. And I know when I think about you, I always it came to my mind. It always comes to my mind Tamil genocide and Armenian genocide and Tamil Genocide Educational Week proclaimed by your government, you know. Those are the things. So we are going to talk about those issues and about our Tamil. So tell me, I have listened many times. You always say that you are the third generation of Armenian genocide. You always, I can see your face, I can see from your face that you are always very proud to be Armenian, and you have been representing the community here a long time, many years. Even before you become MPP, you have served as an immigration judge, and you had very respected positions, and you had the opportunity to serve the people, not only your community. You have served many Tamils, I heard, during your service as immigration refugee board judge. So tell me your experience and your wishes to Tamils, and how you do like Tamils and other ethnic communities.
Thank you very much, Logan, for the invitation to be here with you and to speak about issues of common interests and close to our hearts. Vanakkam, and I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to my good friend Logan for this invitation, because it is important that we communicate as an elected official, to communicate with our residents, to explain to them what's happening. But also, as an Armenian, my nation went through a genocide. I am a third generation of a survivor of a genocide. My grandfather was a survivor of the Armenian genocide of 1915. So this is very close to my heart. And I have a strong passion about genocide education, genocide recognition, genocide commemoration, because unfortunately the 20th century is considered as century of tears, because 60 million people were killed due to genocide, and it is our duty as a survivor nation, Armenians, Tamils, and other Jews, Ukrainians, and others, to work together to prevent any future genocide from happening again, because we do not want any other nation to go through what our people went through. And genocide is something that it leaves its trauma on the survivors, their descendants, their families. They live the trauma is individually and collectively, as a nation, as a people. And what makes it worse for the victim nation of genocide is the denial aspect of that particular genocide. Regrettably, the perpetrators, they always deny that they committed a genocide against that special interest group or that ethnic group. And this drags the issue on. It is an open wound for the victims, because when someone sits down and discusses and denies your own family history and what your family went through the genocide, and after that deny your nation history, that aggravates the situation. That leaves you, adds additional trauma on you, because it is not easy to deal with the denial. The denial is the last stage of any genocide. As Gregory Stanton, the famous genocide scholar, stated, the last act of any genocide is the denial. So that's why I have a very strong passion about defending the interest of the victim nations of genocide. As I mentioned, Tamils, Armenians, Christians of the Middle East, on the hands of ISIS, Ukrainian Jews, Rwandans, etc.
In Pakistan, the Christian.
The Christian. Yeah. So that's why I have been working very hard with so many other leaders, scholars around the world to create a coalition of victim nations, so that we can stand up all together and fight this whole issue of genocide. Genocide is the scourge of humanity, and it is our duty for the next generation. It is our duty for humanity to work together to end the cycle of genocide, regardless who they are, regardless of their ethnicity, their religion, etc. And of course, my position as an elected official, I was very proud to stand up in the House of the Ontario, yes, in the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, when at the final stage of Bill 104 to recognize the Tamil genocide and declare the month of the week of May as a genocide, Tamil genocide commemoration week. I stood up and I supported the bill, and I spoke about the importance of recognizing the Tamil genocide. Now, the one important aspect, of course, we have to work with the education system so that we can prepare the future generations, to sensitize them that no society is immune from genocide. You just need one demagogue, one leader to galvanize the population around them and to commit genocide against their unarmed ethnic communities or against particular race. So that's why I'm so happy that our government, under the leadership of Premier Ford, we passed that motion, that bill unanimously, and we are working with the Minister of Education to start implementing the teaching of the Tamil genocide in our curriculums, in our schools, so that other Canadian generation, the future generation, they can learn from the mistakes of the past. They can learn from it so that they can stand up for the truth and for justice and to bring closure to the victim nation. Because without recognition of that particular crime, there is no healing. And any victim nation, they have to heal. They have to move on. Even though the crime of genocide is a horrible crime, but as a survivors, we still have our families, we still have our nation, we still have our ethnic groups, we have other needs. We have financial issues, we have youth issues. We need to work so that the community survives, regardless if it is in homeland or in the diaspora. So there are many issues that we need as a victim nation to move on. But that cannot happen without the recognition of the perpetrator of the genocide that they are committed. So as I said, without recognition, there is no healing. So that's why I'm quite passionate about genocide recognition, and I will always stand up with the Tamil people and to defend their right to address the issue of the genocide, the ramification of the genocide happened, and bring justice and closure to the Tamil people. And I am proud to say that in Scarborough, Agincourt, where I represent, I have large Tamil community. I have so many friends. I sit down with them. We discuss these issues. I participate in conferences around this issue, and also I try to help them overcome this difficult period.
Yeah, so thank you for your very detailed explanation, because I have heard in many times. Recently I was listening to your speech. You were mentioning about how your Armenian community formed the different organizations to bring this Armenian genocide issue to educate your own community. So the steps you were explaining there, because I thought our community is missing.
Yeah.
Actually, I agree with that. I openly say that our community should learn from you, because I have written on the speech in Tamil also in a couple of weeks ago. So we are very glad to have you, and who is a witness of a genocide, and our community, we know different groups, Tamil diaspora in all over the world, in different countries they have been working, and they always think the UNO will do something.
Yeah.
They will heal the pain, and like that, but still for many years, from 2009, the community and the diaspora organization, they have been fighting or working on it, but no answer. Even still, they are waiting. So at this point, I think people who are listening to your comments, they will understand what our community to do, how we can go on a different direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought this issue, because this is very important issue. As a victim nation of a genocide, we have to be united within the community. I mean, I know in every community there are different organizations, there are disagreements on many issues, but when it comes to the most critical issue, related to the nation and its future, all organizations, they need to be unified behind that one honorable goal to bring justice to the Tamil people, because divided you cannot get anywhere, you cannot reach to any success. When you become together as a one feast, you are able to achieve success. The Armenian community is not different from the Tamil community. In Toronto, we have 28 different organizations, churches, organizations, schools, etc. But the one thing, when it comes to the issue of the Armenian genocide recognition, all these organizations are united. Okay. They work together. They work to bring pressure on the politician to address the Armenian genocide, recognize the Armenian genocide. They work with universities and schools to teach the Armenian genocide. They work with the Canadian media to inform them, to enlighten them with the issues of the Armenian genocide. Because unfortunately, the perpetrator nation, they have huge resources because they have the state power, they have the financial means to deny, to write books, revisionist books about the history, to organize visit for politicians and media personalities and university lecturers, to take them to their country, wine them and dine them, so that they can, when they go back to their own home countries, those foreigners, the third party, to spread their own vision of
the stories.
That's right, history. So that's why it is very important that to find a common cause between all different organizations. It is the same thing in the Jewish community. The Jewish community also, they have different organizations, but when it comes to the Holocaust, all of them are united. For example, what the Armenian people in the diaspora did, because the Armenians after the genocide, they are spread all over the world. So what the Armenian people did in the diaspora, we created a special organization, public relation organization, lobbying organization, to set the agenda for the Armenian diaspora, so that regardless if you are in the United States, Canada, Europe, Asia, Middle East, or Africa, you have a guideline. What is the issue that all these diaspora, the Armenian diaspora, or in your case the Tamil diaspora, they need to do? It's like a book, guidebook, how to do, what to do, and how to pursue it. Of course, there are many ways to pursue the recognition, bringing justice to the Tamil people. For example, of course, universities are very important ground, education, politicians, media. Media is also very important, and simultaneously this one umbrella organization, they define the policies, they define programs, and they disseminate it to the community, so that the community, regardless where they are, they follow that textbook, how to recognize the genocide, how to bring justice. For example, this umbrella organization in the Armenian community case, they operate in 33 different countries around the world. In Canada, United States, Australia, South America, Europe, 33. And all these 33 chapters, they operate on the same guideline, agenda. and they do not get involved in the internal diaspora community affairs. Their main issue is that to defend to sensitize the public, to bring the recognition, and that was the reason why the Canadian Armenian community was successful, because you start with all these different levels of government. I'm glad to say, due to that policy that the Armenian community adopted around the world in the diaspora, in Canada, for example, the House of Commons in Canada recognized the Armenian genocide. The Senate of Canada recognized the Armenian genocide. The political leadership, the executive branch, and that is the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Stephen Harper, they made the Armenian genocide recognition the Government of Canada policy. And on top of that, 4 different provinces, Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, and British Columbia, all of them, they recognized the Armenian genocide. So these are it takes time, it takes energy, but you have to be patient, and you have to be persistent. You cannot give up. You will have ups and downs. You have many unsuccesses, failures. You will try. I mean, in the case of the Armenian people, I remember, at least from my involvement, for 30 years, we have been trying to bring the House of Commons recognition of the Armenian genocide. There were different resolution, motion, laws presented. It was defeated. It failed. But finally, we were able to crack it. So that's the most important aspect, that you need to be patient. And the second most important issue, you need to educate the youth in the community. You need to prepare the youth, because at the end, the youth will carry the challenge. They will carry the torch. If your generation, my generation, couldn't do it our time, the next generation is ready to continue the struggle. And I'm glad to say that Ontario is the first province to acknowledge the Tamil genocide, and hopefully it will create an opportunity for other provinces to start also addressing the issue, because it is important. You need to open a crack. Ontario did it, and that, I think, with the community work, with their friends, they will be able to bring this issue to further successes, and bringing many more successful milestones.
Yeah, it's true. Whatever you said, it's our responsibility, the responsibility of our Tamil groups here in Canada or any other countries, to bring this, to hand over to the next generation through the youth. And you said your community, it took 30 years to succeed. So we will wait and see. And as I said before, our Tamil diaspora groups also have been working very hard. When sometimes, most of the times they fail, they always always believe that the UNO is going to be there to support and heal us. So, in Sri Lanka, the parents of disappeared people, disappearance may be due to the genocide or arrest. They are there for more than 3 years on the street. The Tamil leaders, they never mind about that. They don't care about that. Tamil leaders in Sri Lanka. So how our community will be come out from this?
Well, the Armenian people went through the same difficulty, because the Armenian homeland was part of the Soviet Union. At that time, when Armenia was part of the Soviet Union, the Armenian people in the homeland, they could not speak on foreign policy, because, as you know, the Kremlin was setting the policy, and they were the spokesperson for the all 15 republics. But we didn't give up. the diaspora became the spokesperson for the homeland, because the diaspora organization, even though the homeland was under the Soviet rules, but we continued working on our own, each one of our diaspora countries on our own. Of course, we coordinated with each other, and we were very successful, and many international organizations recognized the Armenian genocide. Over 35 countries recognized the Armenian genocide. So having difficulties in the homeland, that doesn't exclude you in the diaspora from working on this important agenda until the situation is changed in the homeland. But you should not tie your activity, your work, your lobbying to the homeland issues, homeland policies, because as survivors, I know I have many friends, Tamil friends, who escaped the genocide. They are here in Toronto, in Canada. They are working, but they are the eyewitnesses, and it is their own right to continue that struggle, the struggle of recognition.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a very, very clear explanation, So we all have to know, and we all have to continue from.
Well, Logan, it is my pleasure. I am always available. You are not alone. The Tamil community is not alone. You have so many individuals and other communities, like the Armenian community, the Greek community, the Pontian community, the Cypriot community, the Rwandan community. They are your allies. And by working with this group of ethnic people who have been faced the genocide, victimized, you can create much stronger power to address this issue. So I am whatever I can do to help guide you. I am always available, because as I said, this issue, it is a principal issue for me. It is as the third generation of a survivor. When I was a kid, I was listening from my grandfather his survival story. I cannot ignore that struggle, that survival, that the experience he faced. He lost 6 brothers and sisters. He lost his father. He lost 40 members of his immediate family members during the genocide. So I know what it means for a nation, for a race, for ethnic group to face a genocide, because the experience is the same experience. Maybe the means changes. For example, technology is advancing. Some countries, they use advanced technology to wipe out a race or a nation. In time of the Armenian people genocide, it was just guns and swords. But times are changing, and unfortunately the perpetrators also, they are changing their attitude. We saw how in the Second World War the Hitler team used more advanced technology like the gas chambers to wipe out 6 million Jews. So but at the end the aim is the same: to wipe out that nation from the face of the world. So that's why we need to work together, and we will continue this struggle.
Yeah, thank you. And the final question is about, it's not a question, I need to know about your comments. You have been, as a MPP, you have been there to get funding, provincial government's funding for the schools and the hospitals in your riding, not only in your riding, also in other areas too, because I could see you attend not only some events within your community or within your riding, no. We go everywhere. Whenever you get the invitation, you go there. So share with me, so what you experience you had with dealing with the service providing organizations in Tamil community and the schools. And when you meet the Tamil parents, their views. So share something about that.
Yeah. You see, Logan, for 15 years when the Liberal Party was running the province in Ontario, unfortunately, they did not address some of the core issues that our residents are facing. Long-term care issues, education issues, health issues. These are very important. And for 15 years, the province was run down. When we formed the government, we discovered so much work to do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, after 2 years of our government was formed, we faced the COVID problem, and we have to shift our attention from all these issues, all these scandals that the Liberals left us with, to focus on COVID. Having said that, but I'm glad to say that our government, the Conservative government in Ontario, under the leadership of Premier Ford, we were able to address many of these issues. For example, I will give you one example. In the long-term care sector, during 15 years, the Liberals, they only licensed 611 new beds in Ontario over 15 years. Now we are trying to change that because there is a huge lineup, waiting list for long-term care. Now our government, in the last 5-6 months, we started licensing new long-term care places, beds, especially when it comes to the ethnic communities, where the issue of the culture and the language is important issue, because many of those seniors, older people, they don't speak the English language or French language, and they speak with own language. So that we decided that we will encourage ethnic communities, non-profit ethnic communities, to apply for licenses. And we are allocating 10,000 new beds until in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And there will be many ethnic organizations, they will be receiving license to operate beds. So that's one issue. The schools, many of our schools were in very bad situation because the Liberal Party, they didn't focus on the education. We are changing all that. We are spending billions of dollars on education. In my case, for example, I was able to secure over $20 million last year, in 1 year alone, $20 million to 2 schools in Scarborough, Agincourt, Terry Fox School and David Lewis School. These are 2 schools where we are spending $20 million to increase the classroom sizes, to provide additional spaces and childcare spaces. And I am quite happy to say that many of the Tamil students, kids, they go to these 2 schools, so they will benefit from it. Not only them, but all the students that they go to. That's one example. When it comes to healthcare, one of the important issues that we have been struggling with, or the former Liberal government promised, the candidate, the MPP promised to create, to build a community center around the Bridal Town hub. And that promise never happened. When I was elected, I made my priority to make that project a reality, and I'm glad to say that my government approved the budget, and we are going to build the Bridal Town Health Hub and Community Hub. We are going to build, in addition to the community, we are going to build 50 dialysis machines dialysis beds in that hub, so that the people who needs the dialysis, they can come and benefit from it. Another health-related issue that I have worked very hard, and I was successful in it, the Birchmont Hospital, which is the former Scarborough Grace Hospital. The emergency department was in very bad shape, and I worked with the Ministry of Health. I was able to secure the funding to renovate the 11,000 square feet, the existing 11,000 square feet, but not only renovating and enhancing the 11,000 square feet, but adding another 14,000 square feet. So Birchmont Hospital is going to have 25,000 square feet or brand new modern age emergency department. So these are some of the issues that I have been very fortunate. I worked very hard and I delivered to my community, to Scarborough Agincourt. And of course, you know that the Tamil community in Scarborough Agincourt is the second largest ethnic community in. And the Tamil community members will benefit from it. But not only that, but we also worked with Tamil organization. For example, we brought the $50,000 funding to the Tamil Academy to
the Tamil genocide.
For Tamil genocide and the trauma educational. We brought Frontline Community Center over $25,000 to help them look after the seniors, the Tamil seniors who are in need of programs. But also the other successful and unprecedented success that we had, it was the building of the Tamil Community Center. Our government, I mean, I'm glad to say that when I was elected in 2018, my first job was to meet with a group of young Tamil people. They came to me, they asked me how can I help them, because the Armenian community built a very modern community center, and from my experience, how can I help them and work with them to bring the community center, to make it reality. So I gave them advice, what do they need to do, etc. But also I gave them letter of support. The letter of support came when I advised them that there was a program, government funding, Ontario government funding program called ICIP. So I told them to apply for that funding so that they can build the community center. Furthermore, I gave them letter of endorsement in support of their application, and I worked with our Minister of Infrastructure to choose that project as one of the projects to fund, because the ICIP program, the total budget of that funding was $1.1 billion. When we opened the program for applications, we received close to 1,200 applications. The total expenses of these 1,200 applications was $11 billion. So my colleagues, the Minister of Infrastructure, Minister of Finance, we had a difficult choice to make. Which program?
You were able to select all the
No, we could not select all of them, that we had to select some of them.
Yeah.
So that's why it was very important for me to work with the ministers to select the Tamil Community Center project as one of the projects to be funded. And I'm glad to say that we allocated $12 million for that project to build the Tamil Community Center. Because as someone comes from an ethnic community, I know how important it is for any community to have a gathering place in the diaspora, to have a home in the cities where they live, so that they can go, they meet each other, they plan together, they organize cultural activities, sport activities, to bring the youths to become part of the community, so that we spoke earlier about empowering the youth to carry further, to take take the challenge further. So that community center will be able to bring the community together. They will provide the youth an opportunity to also contribute to their own community success. So I am very confident that the Tamil community in Ontario will be successful in so many other programs, ventures that they are planning on. And I am sure that as a Scarborough Agincourt representative, that Scarborough Agincourt will be seeing more benefits coming from our government to address some of the main concerns. For example, the Shepherd Subway line east is another important project, not only for me, but also for my colleague Vincent Kerr in North York, Minister Raymond Cho, my other colleagues, Vijay. So we are working together to make that Shepherd Subway East line part of our future plans for the Scarborough people, so that way we complete the entire loop in Scarborough, the Shepherd East all the way to McCowan, but from there on, from McCowan all the way to Eglinton and to the city. So these are some of the projects that I am working on. And I am very optimistic that we will continue deliver, our government, my government will continue to deliver to the people of Scarborough, because unfortunately Scarborough for a long time it was taken for granted. Scarborough was ignored, not anymore. The amount of the work and the contribution that Scarborough seen, and myself and my other conservative colleagues in Scarborough, we work together. It's amazing the amount of the contribution we brought, the funding we brought to improve the quality of life for the people of Scarborough. I can say confidently that for 15 years the Liberal Party who was governing Ontario ignored Scarborough. But we are not ignoring Scarborough. We are addressing the issue of Scarborough. Some issues are happening very quickly. Some of them it will take time. And that's why it is important that in the next election, people, when they go to the polls, to make informed choice, to see the difference, to be able to evaluate the difference between the different governments, between our government and the previous government. So these are type of things that I will commit myself to it. I am also will commit myself to the multicultural communities, because as someone from an ethnic community, I was a secretary of the Canadian Ethnocultural Council, and as you know, I am a member of the National Ethnic Press Media. So the ethnic communities, that diversity that all of us we bring to Ontario, to Canada, enriches our society, enriches Canada, and makes it one of the best countries in the world.
Thank you, Aris, for sharing the information and in very detail about your services and what you have been you have rendered to our community and the Ontarians in the whole. So thank you for sharing, and we'll meet soon.
My pleasure, Logan, and my doors are always open. Anyone who needs help, advice, input, I'm always available, especially to the Tamil community and Tamil members in Scarborough Agincourt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
நன்றி நேயர்களே, இதுவரையும் எங்களுடைய ஸ்கார்பரோ அஜின்கோர்ட் மாகாண சபை பாராளுமன்ற உறுப்பினர் அரிஸ் பாபிகியன் அவருடைய நேர்காணலில் நாங்கள் உங்களுக்கு முன்னால் கொண்டு வந்தோம். அவருடைய கருத்துக்கள் எங்களுடைய சமூகத்துக்கு ஒரு பலனுள்ள கருத்துக்களாகவும் பல தகவல்களை தெரிவிக்கின்ற ஒரு விடயமாகவும் இருந்திருக்கும் என்ற நம்பிக்கையோடு மீண்டும் அடுத்த சமகால அரசியலில் என்ற அந்த நேர்காணலை சந்திக்கும் வரை விடைபெறுகிறோம். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.